Alright, here we are. The Spectre Orbiter 2.5. Looks quite majestic on the runway of Kerbal Space Center. This thing is kind of taxing to fly, especially when flying it from the runway into orbit. I do use MechJeb. I don't obviously use autopilot because I like to fly myself. But the utility with MechJeb, the utilities panel here with preventing overheats, manage air intakes, preventing jet flame out, that just really relieves a lot of stress and with getting a massive space plane like this into orbit. So yeah, with the KSP Interstellar, adds a lot of different resources. The Alcubierre drive, I'm just going to call it the warp drive. The warp drive uses what's called exotic matter, and as you can see, it's getting charged up right now. For every 1 unit of exotic matter, I believe it is 20 kilojoules of power? Megajoules of power? I can't remember. I'll have to look at the wiki on that one. And I have a nuclear reactor here that is providing power to the electric generator. The electric generator is then providing power to charging the exotic matter to the warp drive. The warp drive will take a long time to charge. I'm not even going to worry about it right now until I get it into orbit, and then it'll take several orbits for it to actually fully charge. So yeah, go ahead, and I have complete with flaps on this aircraft, which is kind of handy for flying at lower speeds. I'm not going to use a whole lot of flaps for takeoff because we won't need them. I use a joystick, which is very handy for making precise corrections. I would not be able to get a space plane like this into orbit by just doing keyboard and mouse. That would make me go insane. Well, without further ado, let's increase the throttle and get this thing into space. Just one notch of flaps. Get going. We're gonna start to lift off right about 80 to 90 meters a second. Here we are. Bring that gear up. Have some nice, cool aviation lights. Can't remember what, if that's B9 or if that's the aviation lights mod. Got some solar panels there. Got some batteries in here between the vertical stabilizers, some communication equipment as well. Those long distance calls. The crew, did I get everyone? Oh. Okay, I did get them. Good. Alright, going fast enough. We'll flapped up all the way, and let's climb. The center of lift is somewhat close to the center of mass, so this aircraft can get away from you if you're not careful. It will want to, not necessarily get into a flat spin, but it will want to try to go to a supercritical angle of attack. And then from there, you can obviously get into a flat spin quite easily. Start leveling out here, get some more speed. engines will really start to scream when we're about 14,000 meters high. The process for getting into space here, I'm going to get to about 14,000 meters. Engines are going to start to really produce maximum thrust and start to overheat. And we're going to get up hopefully close to 1,000 meters a second. I'd love to get faster than that, but I'm not sure if it will be possible. Oh, yep. See, that's what is that it? If you're not careful, the aircraft will just want to pitch up violently like that, but it usually catches itself sometimes, and you can easily correct it and get it back under control. It's unstable like that. I just noticed we went through Mach 1. That's usually where it gets the most unstable, and it will want to flip on you. But now that we're through Mach 1, we won't have to worry so much. This thing sure is wobbly. What was I saying? Can't remember what I was saying. Anyway, the process for getting into space, get up to 14,000 meters, engines be maximum thrust, and then we're just going to pull up as hard as we can, get all that speed transferred into increasing our apoapsis, Jesus. And once the air gets too thin, where the mech jet will start throttling me back due to preventing flameouts, we will kick on the solid rocket boosters. Once we do that, we will shortly after kill all the jet engines and switch the Sabre engine mode to rocket. Do most of my flying off of glancing at everything, looking at the nav ball, looking at the aircraft, looking at the altitude, back to the nav ball, looking at Jeb, he's good, Bill's alright. Gonna try to keep it around 5 to 10 degrees of climb. Let go of the joystick here and check and see. Yeah, that's actually using fuel. Good. Nuts. I don't want anything. I don't want any liquid fuel coming out of my main fuselage. It can all go out of the drop tanks. Hopefully once the drop tanks are emptied, that will start getting used up. We're starting to get, no, thought we were getting re-entry effects there, but that's just the nav light. Alright, we're getting close here to 14,000. Going to get my degree of climb to below 5 degrees. We want to spend as much time as we can at around 14,000, in between 14,000 and 16,000 feet, or meters, I'm sorry. And then we're just going to start pulling up. We're going to lose our maximum thrust at about 18 to 19,000 meters. Where is it pulling it out of? These drop tanks have got to be empty by now. Must be out of there then. Well, I guess it is. Cool. That's one problem I had with the previous rendition of this aircraft is accidentally would drop a lot of liquid fuel when I dropped the boosters off, so. Look like in here. Alright, let's level out here. Just start to hear those engines really cranking up. Getting some re-entry effects now. There we are. Don't want to drop in altitude at all. Blow up just a little more. Small corrections. If you can watch my pitch and roll inputs down on the bottom left, you can see kind of what I'm doing. Wouldn't be able to do this with the keyboard. Be all over the place. Come on, baby. Start pulling up. I don't think we're going to get to quite 1,000 meters a second, but we should be able to hit that no problem once the boosters fire. Let's take a look at... Okay. Good. Good. Excellent. Maximum thrust out of those jet engines. Just what I want. Could we break 1,000 meters a second? Oh man, we're getting a little too far right there. Come on, break 1,000. Oh, we gotta start pulling up here. Jeb's cutting my engines there ever so slightly. Ooh, we broke 1,000 meters a second. I haven't done that yet before with this specific plane. Alright, RCS active. Alright, boosters, hold on to your butts. Boosters engaged, looking good. Let's switch those engines over. Saber engine activate. Now we just watch our apoapsis. I know how to talk. Pull up a little more. Come on, baby. Boosters at half full. Let's take a look around. Thing is quite pretty. Apoapsis at 40 kilometers. Could be better. inclination is a little more than I would like, but I'll take it. Boosters off. Let's separate them. Hey, that worked great! It didn't come back and hit me like last time. Now we're really picking up speed. Good. Let's see if we can fix that inclination some. There we go. Whoops, too far. We're in orbit. Let's go up to 120 kilometers. $120. Waste heat's coming up now. Start throttling back, get ready to stop. We're at 120 kilometers apoapse. Let's prepare for that circularization. Good enough. Alright. Let's autosave. Yes. Or quick save. Bring out those grand old radiators. Radiators deployed. Let's get some solar panel action. Alright. Well, now let's turn off the Sabre engine and turn on the nuclear engines. Let's get set up for my maneuver node here. Looks pretty cool when everything's deployed there. Tell smartass to hold that node. Exotic matter slowly going up. It's going to take a while to charge. Let's see. Two minutes till the node. So what does our delta V say? Well, we got just over half fuel left, and our delta V is 2,800 meters a second. 32 minutes of burn time with the nuclear engines. Not too bad. Can't wait to get it refueled. Then we will travel the stars. gorgeous plane, if I do say so myself. Quite enjoy space planes much more than just designing boring rockets. Can't make a rocket look super cool, it's just gonna be a rocket. Just a pencil looking thing that just boring. But with a space plane you can just make it look badass. Houston, you wanna go for throttle up? It's quite standard now. I'm sure you all have done this many times. It's just a standard circularization burn. I'm sure everyone back on the ground is celebrating. Now the planning commences on where we will take the Spectre Orbiter 2.5. It's going to be a long journey, Bill and Jeb, and who else do we got? Bill, Jeb, Murgun, Hudner, and Sonny, and Scott Manley. I mean, Kerman. It was Murgun and Hudner that flew the last Spectre Orbiter 2.5 into orbit. Those brave souls made it to Joule and back. However, the return trip was they didn't quite come back in one piece. Ooh, here we go. Just about there. We're in orbit. Periapsis of 118 kilometers. Apoapsis at 121. That's pretty close. Close enough for me. We're there. So that's what it takes to get one of these bad Larrys into orbit. Now we get to decide where to go. But first, I gotta refuel it. So I will probably tape that as well. And I'll see you all next time.